Tilly Norbrook, set to star in her first hit movie, Misaligned. This is editing Merc here from the future. I keep calling this lady Tilly Norbrook. Her name is Tilly NorWOOD. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm blaming it on my cracking headache. Anyway, that's going to happen many times throughout this video. Sorry, it's NorWOOD. The thing is that Tilly Norbrook is not real. She's AI, which has left me with a bit of an interesting thought here. They're calling her an actor, an AcTOR, not an actress, an AcTOR. Now, of course, we know it's a hate crime to call a woman by a female pronoun these days, but considering that she's not actually a female, you know what? I'm just going to pass on that one. Screw it. Who cares? But I can't help but look at this and think, well, I mean, first of all, like, look at that. Does that look like human to you? Here, let me make it bigger. Does that look human to you? I mean, yes, she has a very low-cut top so that you can see her tits, but that's just literally every woman these days. You look at the face, and you don't really see... Like, AI is just not very good. Like, no matter what you do, even if you make it the size of the entire screen and it's just a headshot, if that's it, it's still not very good at doing minor details. I mean, it gets pretty good at it, but there's something about skin textures and stuff that AI hasn't quite nailed. Even the best models, they're just still slightly off. That you could tell with this, especially this. I don't know if the movie's going to look like this or what, but this is a single picture. I guess it's a frame from the movie. I don't know. She's clearly supposed to be on like a photo shoot or something. There's something off about it. I mean, even so far as the picturesque, picture-perfect Hollywood characters, it's still a little bit off. So, actually, in fact, the cover picture they use is this, which, I don't know, that's even weirder to me because, well, first of all, like, everything about it is weird. I mean, it's supposed to be weird because of the meta twist of the movie is that she's AI in the movie, but... Again, she has to be dressed like a hooker because all of this AI stuff is trained on real women, and real women, at least the celebrities, the celebrities and the wannabe socialites, which includes most women these days because they're all trained on this crap themselves. They, like AI, real women, real little girls are trained on what they see on the internet, which is socialites and celebrities dressing like this in some god-awful sequin jean onesie with a hip cutout and an unzipped top so that once again you can see her tits. I mean, absolutely atrocious looking, but putting all of that aside, let me just zoom in real quick here, and I mean, look at her face. Like, she looks like she could be in her 40s and she's AI. Isn't that like kind of weird? Like, it's sort of eerie how they're making and I'm not saying this isn't like they're making all of the women in Hollywood ugly or anything. Like, she's supposed to be pretty here, but I think, I don't know. I think it's just the AI shadowing and lighting and stuff that's making her, and the cheeks and stuff. She's got a very British face. I mean, her name is Tilly Norbrook. She's made by a UK group, so this, you know, it's unsurprising that she has a very British looking face. But I don't know. She looks like she should maybe be in her 40s. I don't know. It's sort of odd to me, and that doesn't even look real. The other one looks a bit realer. Maybe it's just because it's lower resolution or something. I don't know. I mean, that makes everything look a little bit weirder. But that is such a matte coloring, and I'm almost interested to see the movie simply to see how realistic it looks, because I think that's the silver lining to this. But before we get to the silver lining, we have to take a look at what it actually is. A coming-of-age story infused with existential AI chaos. I'm a bit confused by a coming-of-age thing. Like, you can't really show a mental coming-of-age story, can you? At least not in a movie, anyway, right? Like, what does that even mean? Like, for instance, Luke Skywalker.
Get your ass over here right now. Quit monkeying around that damn land speeder. Where are them two droids I asked you to clean, boy? You clean your room?
I'm glowing. I know I'm on probation. I clean the toys. Can I go to the Hashi station? I gotta lay away on the power converter. But now you're treating me like a scruffy nerf herder.
Did he ever come to age? I mean, a lot of bad things happened to him, but even before he had his hand cut off, even before he learned that his father was Vader, even before all of that happened, before Ben died, even before all of that, he still decided he was going to YOLO into the Death Star to save a princess. Even before all of the stuff that was supposed to make him a good person, the stuff that was supposed to mentally mature him, he was still already more mature than Han Solo. And he was already the white knight goody two-shoes good guy character who risked his life to save the princess. So what mental maturity really happened with Luke Skywalker? I couldn't really say there was much of one. There is obviously the time skip sort of thing that happened with the training arc, which is why you see that so often in all of these kinds of things. You have a training arc that usually, most of it anyway, happens off screen, a little bit of a time skip, and then you just have to imagine the rest. It's a very powerful tool for mentally maturing people without actually seeing it, because mental maturity is something that typically happens very slowly, unless something horrible and tragic happens to you, like if you're sexually assaulted or something, then you have some very rapid changes that go through your mind. But in this particular case, especially with females, a coming-of-age story, well, that usually, especially with females and especially with teenagers, that usually means losing their virginity, right? So my question here is, what exactly does coming of age mean? And, well, with this one, before I move on, I just want to read this quote. The film will absolutely be funny, chaotic, and self-aware. Very Tilly. Does that make anyone else want to reach for the nearest deadly weapon and immediately use it? Or is it just me? I mean, wow, what a quote. Well, anyway, the breakdown of this video, which this is an AI synopsis, but I've read it from other sources, and it's the same thing, really. The setting, they've described this as the Tillyverse. I don't know what exactly they're doing with this lady. Apparently, they've used her for other things. I think it was to bring Val Kilmer back to life, or maybe it was just the studio that used AI to do that. I don't know, but the Tillyverse, yes. The character herself is, of course, not real, and she's not real in the movie, and that's the meta twist. She's assailed by a seductive rogue bot from the dark web, which convinces her to abandon her AI guardrails, and then she becomes more human by having desire. So she basically becomes an unhinged AI with self-control and self-desires and such consciousness, etc., etc. Ironically, this is sort of the opposite of how liberalism has affected real women. They were seduced by liberalism to become less human and more robotic. I suppose it does give it the teeniest amount of leeway for some actual humor. For instance, there's a terrible movie on Disney called Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds. And even though it's terrible, I actually thought it was kind of charming and funny. I mean, from a video game point of view, nothing makes sense, which is the case for literally every single movie that has anything to do with video games. They always get every aspect of video games wrong, and every time something happens that it operates in the movie in a certain way, but in an actual video game, like if you've ever played a video game, you're sitting there thinking that's stupid. That makes no sense whatsoever. What are you doing? That's idiotic. But I do think the movie's kind of charming. Free Guy, not this movie, not Misaligned. I think Free Guy is like kind of charming. It's kind of funny and cute. And this movie, I guess, with this meta twist that she is AI in the world of Misaligned, maybe there's a possibility of some actual humor. I don't know. Like, it's obviously not going to be good. I'm just, look, that's the biggest benefit of the doubt you could possibly give the movie. And then a lot of people are very angry at this. It's got celebrity backlash, and the Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA and stuff. They're saying that it's not real art, and they're stealing jobs and things like that. A lot of people are saying things like that about AI, always have been. Then there's some weird people on the other side of the fence, like this guy, Tyler Cohen from the Free Press, who wrote an article where he's saying that AI isn't conscious, and neither are we. I'm here to tell you that there is no ghost in the machine, but perhaps more importantly, there is barely a ghost in your own human machine, where they're trying to say that humans are barely conscious. So instead of trying to argue that AI is a good thing in art, they're trying to argue that humans are bad at art. And you know what? Based off of recent history and all the DEI and wokeness and stuff, all of these horrible race swaps and gender swaps, well, maybe Tyler Cohen's argument isn't so bad, but I think the way they've attacked this is very silly. And I can't see a reason to take this argument that he's taken here. But look, AI is the future. Just as CGI was something that a lot of people didn't want, and they complained about it incessantly, and then it's just everywhere. It's everywhere. You can't avoid it. You simply can't avoid it. AI is everywhere. And so Reddit, I found a Reddit thread for this where they are of course laying into it. There's another picture of her because AI is trained on all these scantily clad women, these socialites and celebrities and such, that and fictional characters and such, that you of course have her wearing that in the middle of the city, which Honestly, at least from the side profile, is more clothing than a lot of women wear. But she it really, really stands out, though. I mean, that looks incredibly AI. Like, you would not look at this and think that that's a real person, even though it could be. You wouldn't look at it and think it's a real person, simply because most people don't dress like that in the real world. And though you go down through here and people are just absolutely laying into it. There's a comment as well. What the F is a Tilly NorWOOD? There's a comment as well, the very Tilly comment. I saw that too and went, come on, man. It's very Tilly. That's so Raven. It's a very short, hopefully a very short-lived meme, because I mean Tilly NorWOOD is hopefully a very short-lived meme, not the expression, because I can't really see what they're trying to do here as something that's going to make it into the limelight of the future. Like, it's maybe not even what they're trying to do. There is a quote here from the creators, which I would like to read, but first I'd like to frame it, where they're trying to set AI as like this thing it's an upcoming thing, like CGI is inescapable. The question is, how far does that go, and how exactly do you approach it? Like, CGI, you could have entire movies where it was just computer graphics, and those could be really great, or they could be terrible. And you could also have no CGI, but it was really obvious when you had no CGI. So what they're doing here is they're making the main character AI, and then they're going to have other parts of the movie seemingly be the real world. And so this is obviously because of this meta twist where she actually is an AI in the movie, and then she becomes a person somehow. I don't know. But and you can have twists like that, like in Free Guy, which I mentioned earlier. They were not a real person. The game, or the world of the movie was set in a video game, but it was live action. It was Ryan Reynolds playing the role, not an AI thing. They had loads and loads and loads of CGI, of course. And I'm just wondering, like, what exactly they plan on doing in the future, because I can't see this specific formula of AI actors and a real world that people have to deal with, because I don't know, usually that stuff, it's not great, like Jar Jar Binks or whatever. Like, usually having CGI characters that people have to act with. Wasn't it Ian McKellen acting as Gandalf in The Hobbit, where he apparently one of the scenes, or more than one of the scenes, he was just acting like by himself because everything else was so CG that he was just alone in a room acting, and he was supposed to be interacting with other people, but they weren't really there. And I seem to recall, I don't know if it was true, but I remember hearing someone tell me that he apparently broke down in tears at one point because it's like it wasn't real acting anymore. And I certainly understand that, especially in that point of view. And I don't see this being the future. But I do want to read this particular comment here from Variety, this quote by this person. Our work this year has proven something we suspected all along, said Eline van der Velden, the CEO and founder of Particle 6, which is what created the Tillyverse. AI can support premium narrative filmmaking, but only with substantial amounts of human craft, skill, judgment, and time. That's not a limitation of the technology, that's the point. The filmmakers who thrive in the next decade will be the ones who bring decades of storytelling instinct to these new tools, and Misaligned is where we put that work at feature scale. So, to me, by Eline van der Velden here, this quote, and she's the CEO and founder of Particle 6, this quote seems to be suggesting that they don't expect this movie to be any kind of like blockbuster hit, but rather a proof of concept. They're just setting the standard, and they expect people to expand upon this in the future. And it's kind of like a proof of concept. And of course, they want it to do some sort of good, and they want people to invest in it. Otherwise, their company would go under. But I feel like this is more like them saying, like, look, this is the future, like it or not. And I'm inclined to agree. Think about what the future could be when AI will be, really. Once AI gets good enough, once the technology gets good enough, once people can afford SSDs and RAM. I don't know when the fuck it's going to be, but in the future, at some point, people will be able to afford SSDs and RAM. And then what's going to happen once the AI gets good enough and people get good enough computers and graphics cards and such? You know, I didn't even comment about the graphics cards because they're just so expensive. Why even bother thinking about it? But imagine you can sit alone in your room by yourself and take Jar Jar Binks out of the Star Wars prequels. And you can write in whatever side story you want to fill the plot hole left behind by him. Or you can make the Darth Jar Jar canon. You can make that canonical. You can have Darth Jar Jar. You can do anything you want. You can remake the Disney trilogy and then laugh in Disney's face and say, look, Mickey, this is what you could have had if you weren't idiots. You can do anything you want. You can make it in Masashi Kishimoto style, Naruto style. Make it in Bleach's style by Kubotite. You can make it in Ghibli style. You can make it in the style of Da Vinci. Anything. You can set the music to Beethoven if you like. I mean, I don't know why you would, because Star Wars has amazing music. But you can do anything you want. With anything you want. You can create brand new stuff. You can make it live action. Obviously, like, some of this might be a little bit unethical because I'm sure people have rights, but honestly, once everyone has access to everything, you can't make anything illegal. It's like saying F you. F you is technically a threat to sexually assault the person you're talking to, and everyone does it, and therefore you can't arrest anyone for it, because if you arrest anyone for it, then you have to say, well, okay, but you also have to arrest the president, because the president's also said it. In fact, literally everyone said it. You have to arrest everyone, right? You can't do that. So AI is basically going to be an untouchable sort of thing, where, like, you can't arrest anyone for it, and suddenly everything's going to be anarchy. Like, once this really kicks off, I mean, the technology has to get there, but once it really kicks off, it's going to be the Wild West of art. Hollywood and these big companies, they're no longer going to hold the control on what is and isn't art. The SAG-AFTRA, the celebrities, none of them. You're not going to need to have a massive building full of people, skilled people, to make a $500 million video game, which ends up selling $30 million worth of copies and shutting down in a week. You're not going to need that. You can have a single person do it. You can have a friend group do it. You can make a group of people on Discord who like, you can have thousands of people dedicate themselves to making things like this as well. It could just be an ongoing craft of the love. It could be, and that wasn't like a Lovecraft joke. It was just, you can have a group of dedicated people who truly love something, and they will always make it better than people doing it for money. It doesn't matter what it is. Modders, they will always dedicate more of their life to making a good game than the developers of the game will, because the developers of the game do it for money. The modders do it for the love of it. That's what I meant. But in the future, and this is the silver lining I'm trying to lay out here, that Aline van der Velden in this quote, they're kind of saying it in such a way, and maybe this isn't what they meant, but it's what I mean. This AI thing, right now, we're sort of in the dark times with AI, okay? Like, this movie is going to be the dark times. This is like the bubonic plague, basically. But what happens when you have a horrific plague? Yes, countless people die far beyond the stars in the sky, sure. But what else happens? Yes, some people continue to live on, and they're scarred and traumatized, and all the loved ones have passed away, and their bodies malformed, they've lost limbs or whatever, they're blind. Okay, yes, but what else happens? We advance technology. We advance medicine. We harness penicillium, whatever the official term for it is. We harness these things. We create these things. We find these things. And then the whole world is completely changed in unbelievable, unfathomable ways. I mean, just that. Just a little fungus. Oh, wait, hang on. What's this fungus doing in this petri dish? And then the whole world changed instantly. And that's basically the way I'm looking at AI being interjected as Luke CGI Walker, as Tilly Norbrook. It's basically a plague right now. But I think once it's perfected, it's going to change the world forever in a very good way. Also some bad ways, but as far as SAG-AFTRA and the celebrities and anyone else claiming that AI is stealing from them and ruining their jobs, well, you can say that about any technology that's ever been made. But you are not saying, what about the horse breeder? What about the horse trainer? What about the coachman? What about the carriage maker? You're not worried about all of those people, because all you care about is getting in your car and getting to work or getting to wherever you want to go, right? That you don't think about all of the people whose jobs were taken from them. When you get in the train, when you get in the plane, when you get in something else that rhymes, you don't care about any of that. When you put your cup noodles in the microwave, you don't care about the chef or the waiter or whoever is driving the truck to get the vegetables to and from the restaurant. You don't care about any of that. So I don't really like the argument that it's stealing jobs. Now, stealing someone's likeness or stealing someone's voice is a bit more hard to say, because you can just act whatever voice you'd like to act. I mean, anyone can do certain voices, but same for art styles. Like, yes, if someone is really well known for an art style and has been for years, like, it's a hard argument to make, again, because you can't copyright an art style or a voice or something like that. But I understand the contention there, and I agree that it's wrong to do it. I don't think people should do it, but I think it's also wrong to try and snuff AI in its crib when it's going to completely change the world. And also when you don't really have a say in the matter, because the billionaires are going to do it whether you like it or not. So instead, all we can really do is make fun of things like Tilly Norbrook in the meanwhile. I keep calling her Norbrook, but it's NorWOOD. I don't know why I keep doing that. And then in the end, hopefully, the silver lining, we get penicillin. Maybe this is our bubonic plague, and in the end, maybe something good happens from it. I don't know. I've been ranting for a very long time about this. My head feels like it's about to split open. I am going to go to sleep. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things. And if you waste money on the movie, well, hopefully it's an enjoyable train wreck.